Your hair looks nice. Did you cut it?
No, it's just kind of greasy, and
That's probably why it looks nice. I like the hat too. That looks new.
Yeah, I've had this one too. I just decided to.
What does it say? Phoenix? Phoenix.
It's at Phoenix.
Phoenix. Or Funks. Funks for short. Welcome, everybody. We had a 1-week break because Joe went to Madagascar.
Just feeding zebras.
Yeah, he was feeding zebras to lions.
I was feeding the zebras.
The zebras. But yeah, we're back. Hopefully you can hear all the movement. And
really can't. Your microphone does pretty good.
I know, that's why I'm mad when I can like hear my breathing. If I'm like looking back at a recording or when I'm editing, if I can hear my breathing, I'm like, God, are you fat? If I can hear your breathe. Like,
I find myself doing that. When you're like hyper focused on something, you don't realize everything else is going on. And so you're just like,
right. Just like, breathe so loud. Well, today last week we talked about DC. This week we're going to talk about DC, but different. All right. So DC's fucked. They're starting over.
Basically.
They're burning it down.
I mean, if James, some things may have happened since our last video, where James Gunn basically said, nothing's confirmed, which basically means, he said nothing is confirmed, which basically means everything's not confirmed.
Yeah.
Which means nothing's happening, right? Like if there's no, yes, this is happening, then you have to assume that nothing's happening.
Sure.
And I know that like next Tuesday, I think DC has like a thing, like James Gunn's doing a thing to give like kind of like what they're thinking and like a timeline of like what events they want to do.
That's gonna help.
But Aquaman 2 means nothing. Shazam 2 means nothing, and The Flash might mean something.
I kind of
The Flash might mean something.
Yeah.
Like The Flash might mean something. So
should you go see those movies? Yes, if you want to support them.
Yeah.
But are they absolutely necessary to go see? At the moment, it looks like not.
Yeah. Apparently in Aquaman 2, zero like Amber Heard's scenes did not get cut whatsoever.
Okay. They didn't pinch him off.
They didn't pinch him off. No.
Okay.
They didn't shit the bed. It sounds like they shit the bed.
Okay.
So
sure. All right. Well, so that's a good place to start because she didn't get cut.
She probably DC. just abused her way.
Yeah.
Into that.
Yeah.
And they probably didn't want to like take her out, and then there'd probably be some like defamation stuff too. So they didn't want to go there.
Or defecation.
Yeah, or defecation.
But she's somebody who apparently is not gone from DC, but it sounds like everybody will eventually maybe be gone from DC. Yeah. So what could be fun? What do these people do? Like, oh, it hurts. It hurts. They're gone from DC, something they love, especially somebody like Henry Cavill.
Right.
Just been wanting to do this. The Rock's been working on Black Adam for over 15 years.
Yeah. He's very passionate about that. James Gunn, he did say that both him and Henry Cavill, I feel like are kind of in the same boat with their characters in regards to they both talked to James Gunn, and James Gunn basically said like, you guys are not in the plan right now. And that's okay. Like a lot of people are upset because fan favorites are these characters are like these characters embody their character. Right. And that's okay. Like you got to reset at some point because you fucked everything up already. Like Warner Brothers messed everything up already. And so James Gunn has to reset everything, and that's going to hurt some people's feelings. So.
Well, and if you've watched older episodes of this podcast, you've heard us say just reset it all.
Yeah.
We've talked about the Flash specifically resetting everything, and that they were going to reset everything but Ezra. We've talked about how the best
they could reset everything,
get rid of everything.
Yeah, you could have Ezra's Flash basically like reset time, right? Yeah. Like possibly travels so fast that he sacrifices himself to reset the timeline.
Yep.
Or put yourself in a different multiverse or whatever you want to do. And they can sacrifice Barry Allen because they have Wally West.
Right.
Kind of like sitting there too. So
that's what I would do personally. I would have them go to a different timeline.
Right.
That's just have them
I would love if they went to Pattinson's timeline. And hear me out here, because James Gunn also said that he wants to go with a younger Clark Kent. No origin story, but a younger Clark Kent where he's working at I forgot what the reporter he works at, but he's in Metropolis as a reporter, like he's Clark Kent. And so
that's the thing. Let's reiterate, not an origin story, because the number one complaint I keep seeing is that he's going to be doing an origin story. Not only is he specified but let's again, not an origin story.
Yeah.
So many people keep complaining about it when he is specified. James Gunn specifically said his response when somebody said, "Great, another origin story," he said, "Fuck no."
Yeah. Yeah. The fact eventually you do enough runs of a character or a franchise where you're doing an origin story over and over again. You can see that with Fantastic Four, Fan Four Stick. And then, it's kind of just beating a dead horse. We know how the Fantastic Four gets their powers. Whether you want to explain that in a space sense, or if you want to explain that in a quantum realm sense, we understand what their powers are. So you can just be like, oh yeah, they fucked around in the quantum realm and got their powers. That would make sense, because like Kamala got her powers differently. Makes sense. So.
Part of the hard part about the reset is but people are going to want to know. So you might have to do origin flashbacks in secondary role, like when they come into like a group movie like Justice League, or if they come in as a cameo in another superhero movie. That's when you want to reveal the backstory.
Sure.
Or you just got to do the origin story on some of them and just say, like, sorry, you're going to be watching the first half hour of this movie is something you've seen before. We're just going to try to do it different.
Right.
I don't know what they plan on doing there, but long story short, now that these people are going to be gone, Gal Gadot's probably gone, Henry Cavill gone, Ezra Miller gone, Batfleck gone, all these people. We want to see them still, and we would love to see them in superhero roles. So what's a successful superhero company that knows what they're doing? That's Marvel. So let's see what these people can do. Also, Walking Dead, I would consider a successful comic book.
Yeah, sure. The Boys.
The Boys. There's some other ones, but Marvel's the big one that everybody should follow, considering they have the only thing that can make money in theaters, basically. So
I mean, you look at Black Adam and all they put into it. The budget was crazy, and they're probably, I don't know if they necessarily came out positive. They probably hit even, I would imagine.
It sounds like they had about a $500 million budget and it made just over $500 million. So even if it was a profit, when you're looking at those large of numbers, it's not a big enough profit to be like, oh, nice, they made a profit.
Right. Whereas Marvel can just be like, we're going to release Howard the Duck's movie, and then there's $1 billion franchise right there. You know what I mean? So, I mean,
we're going to turn DuckTales into a live action superhero show and watch it make $500,000 or $500 million. So let's just see what characters should these people play? What superheroes should in Marvel?
No, is it any of them off limits?
The side characters like Amber Heard. So they're not going to include side characters. So you
just like the title character, the main character.
No Pete Davidsons, no Amber Heards, no people that are already in Marvel. So no Idris Elba's, no Jared Leto's.
Sure.
I mean, why would you want to recast Jared Leto?
Right.
Because he's already in the most successful Marvel franchise.
Sure.
Greatest movie ever made.
So no Batfleck.
No Batfleck as well, because he's already going to be in Secret
there was
Wars.
One more.
Yeah, there was. I think there was another one. I just have written down Batfleck and Amber Heard that we won't be mentioning. And Idris Elba. So let's start with both of us. When we were thinking about this topic, came up with this person's name first. So we might as well start with her, Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot. Let's see here. I don't know how she would look with red hair, so I can't say Phoenix.
I think she would probably look great with it.
I think she would look great with it too. She could do it. She could do Phoenix.
Yep.
Once again, that's another franchise you don't need an origin story for.
Yeah, we don't
just don't, dude.
Just jump
have
right
her do
in.
the Dark Phoenix already, and Professor X saved her.
Yeah,
like don't do a Dark Phoenix storyline ever again. You don't need it.
Please.
You don't need it.
I think that would not be that would not be bad. I think that would be good. I also think
a big enough character for her.
Right, and that's the thing is like, do you want her to be a big character? Do you want her to be like a moderately big character? Because I also think, see, the hard part is
Spider-Woman.
Casting directors have to deal with, especially now. You have to be like, sometimes you have to watch it with race, because I think she would also play a great Psylocke.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think she would replace Olivia Munn. I think I would probably prefer her over Olivia Munn.
No, I don't know that. I think Wonder Woman 84 failed because of the story, but I just watched the beginning of Justice League on my trip back from Washington. I watched Sonic 2 on the way there, and then which Sonic 2 had everything I wanted.
I was like 15 minutes into Sonic 2, and then my daughter started crying. I had to stop.
I had everything I wanted in that, down to the post-credit scene.
Yeah, I know. I heard about that.
Yeah, but I watched just the beginning of Justice League, because I was in a superhero kind of movie, or superhero
moody.
And no, she has this like badass opening scene where like she comes into the place, there's a bunch of burglars, she's like jolting fast at them because she's like superhuman, obviously. Then some guy tries to kill a bunch of hostages with a machine gun. She goes ding 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 ding, and like slides on her on the ground and like blocks everything.
You could just imagine her doing it with like energy swords.
Yeah, no, that would be that's a really good thought right there.
Yeah,
I think
that's what I would want.
I think Spider-Woman 2, because I think there is a run of Spider-Woman where
Spider-Woman 2.
Yeah, because Spider-Woman doesn't really have doesn't have webbing powers. I think the version of Spider-Woman we're going to see in Across the Spider-Verse does, which is weird because like she's like weird. Shooting webs, which is it's more like psionic. But I think you're right with she's played with a sword as Wonder Woman, so like why not like an energy sword? I think that's a good idea. That's like really. I'm gonna go with Betty Braddock then. I'm gonna go with Psylocke.
That would be my dream cast. Is it big enough for her? I don't know, but I think no matter, they could make it big. They could make that character bigger if they want.
Right.
And there is no small role, especially not in Marvel. And I think you could make any character bigger or smaller.
And there's no X-Men yet. There's no X person yet. So
right. And I was trying to think of maybe some other X-Men, but nah, that's the one that keeps sticking. Let's do the Heartbreaker.
Yeah.
Henry Cavill.
Yeah, this one's actually pretty easy because he's been fan casted so many times in Marvel. The big ones are Captain Britain, and Hyperion.
Yep.
Does he want to play the like Marvel's Superman? Like, does he want to play Hyperion, who looks just like Superman? Sentry is also another one, but I don't know if I can see him with like long blonde hair.
There is somebody later on that I think could play a better Sentry.
Sure.
That we'll be talking about.
Yeah. Sentry is like if you have a problem with like unbeatable people, like say like Superman, like he doesn't really have a weakness. Captain Marvel doesn't really have a weakness. Sentry is like insanely powerful. Like he's
Sentry is who they send to stop Hulk during World War Hulk.
Yeah. So
when Hulk is super powered and like enraged and kills off people like Mr. Fantastic, Doctor Strange, like that powerful Hulk, Sentry is who is sent to stop him.
Sentry's insane. So those I'd like to see him as Captain Britain, just from all of his fan castings, just because it's a more grounded role. And he doesn't have to, he can still kind of like, I don't know, he can be this like symbol of hope, but he can also be like a fighter, I guess. So I guess Captain Britain, and it's an kind of an unknown character that you can make a huge character.
Right.
So
You can if you nail a casting, people start loving the character. Then people are like, oh, let's look at more of this character.
sure.
And it also, they say they want to go younger. Like the next phase, they're trying to go younger, which means he needs a leadership role, considering he's not. It hurts to say somebody like Henry Cavill's not younger.
Here's another one that I'm going to throw at you too. Mr. Sinister.
Yeah, I was going to say my vote for him would be Mr. Sinister.
Yeah.
I want to see Henry Cavill in a villain role.
Sure.
I want to see him in like a.
Can I say one other thing?
Yeah.
This is Christian Bale said he would want to return to Marvel in some way, shape, or form. I'm sure it's because of that paycheck that he got. But I also thought of he said he would want to return, and my first thought for him was also Mr. Sinister. Yeah. So just a random thought. He's a DC person. He's already been in Marvel, but
bear with me here. I'm about to get a little bonk. Okay. But Henry Cavill looks like a Greek god. Yeah. And Marvel with Thor Love and Thunder, spoiler alert.
Oh yeah.
Like 1, 2, 3.
I know where you're going with this, I think.
They're bringing in a bunch of Greek gods. Yeah. Like, they already have Hercules and all Zeus. They're bringing these in. There are multiple Greek gods that he could definitely play.
Yeah, there is a bust of a Greek god on the Grandmaster's Tower that he could definitely play.
Right, and depending on how he feels, I think he would be a killer Ares.
Ares is
the god
brutal.
Of war, dude. Yeah,
Ares is brutal. I'm pretty sure in some runs he's like killed Hercules. Mm-hmm. He's like fought Thor. Like he's not a good guy either. Like he's in Norman Osborn's. Zeus. Yeah, he's in Norman Osborn's like Dark Avengers.
Sure.
Ares is. So
Ares is depending on how he feels about makeup, he could also be Beta Ray Bill.
Oh yeah.
Depending. I think when you have a guy like Henry Cavill, the goal is to see him. So I think a role like Ares, Mr. Sinister, or Captain Britain are more ideal. Sure. I think overall Captain Britain's probably the best in terms of if you're just going with, all right, who does he look like? Who will he encapsulate the role best as? But if you're telling me he wants to stretch his abilities as an actor,
a villain,
I think Mr. Sinister is definitely.
Yeah, and Mr. Sinister. Yeah, because Mr. Sinister is not a one-off kind of guy either.
Yeah.
So
both are big. And Henry Cavill is most likely gonna be a massive role.
Yeah. It's like, hey, we've got like if I was Marvel, I'd be like, we've got 10 movies for you right here. Like it's gonna start with the origin of Captain Britain. It's gonna go into Avengers, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like, you know what I mean?
And you're also, here's a flat salary for you, but we're also gonna give you a percentage of all the earnings of each movie.
Yeah.
Each one gaining 5% as so the 10th movie you'll have 50%.
Just the fattest stack ever for him.
And Henry Cavill is who you throw the bank at.
Yeah,
like
sure.
Kevin Feige robs Fort Knox and gives it to Henry Cavill.
Exactly.
That's why Henry Cavill costs $100,000 or more for a celebrity guest starring.
Yeah.
Next is a controversial person. Somebody who's had some issues recently, and not recently, and all this stuff. Ezra Miller. They are somebody who is probably going to be playing a huge part in the future of DC with the reset.
Yeah, but we assume it's a reset. I have no idea. Apparently that was the Henry Cavill. Yeah, apparently Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot's cameos got cut from that.
Yep. There was another cameo that was cut from. It was Shazam. There was, I believe, it was either Henry Cavill's Superman, or there was another. It was The Rock denied his, but there was another one that was cut.
Sure.
So we'll see if they reset or not. But assuming,
I think that's the play. Like I just like
full reset.
Yeah, that's clear. The play. It's like you could explain how you reset your universe, and then it's like blank slate. You know what I mean? So
I got Ezra Miller, space, baby. I'll write your name.
First thing that came to my head was Toad.
Mine was Iceman.
Okay, yeah, that would work. Iceman would work too. He's got comedy in his like repertoire.
Yeah,
as an actor. So yeah, Iceman would work. Iceman's
Nightcrawler.
funny. Nightcrawler would work.
He could
I don't know
play
if he
a
could
really
do the accent, but he's got the build for Nightcrawler for
yeah.
sure. Yeah. Something funny. I also thought like Harry Osborn.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
That
I
would
think
be
that's
really
a
interesting.
little odd too.
See how, like, I feel like he's somebody who likes those darker roles, because even in the positive movies I've seen him in, like Perks of Being a Wallflower,
Sure.
he gets a little, like, his character is kind of depressing, sarcastic.
Right.
He just
right.
I just feel like,
and I watched a little bit in The Flash. He's very like quirky, you know.
Right.
So
Fantastic Beasts, his character in the first movie is not supposed to really be a villain, but he's the dark,
right,
angry person.
Yeah.
So, you know, as they introduce more characters or go more places, I think there's some other roles. Like, I think there's a couple X-Men that he definitely fits the bill for.
Yeah, sure.
They fit the bill for. So.
Yeah.
And when they go to space, there's going to be some more places, more characters that they can play in space.
Right.
So right now, I would say
even like a
Nightcrawler for me.
Even like a, he could just do like voice acting. He could do like a. I'm sure he could do a bunch of different voices, but like he could do like a Fin Fang Foom. I don't know. Like he could do a voice thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah. I like that idea, actually. I would say out of all the ones that we've said, Harry Osborn
intrigues you.
Yeah, and then voice acting. I definitely, because with their off the screen issues, I don't think they would ever get cast in Marvel anyway.
Sure. Right.
But if they were,
sure,
voice acting is probably the way to go, just to make sure their face isn't on screen. Sure. Just to help disconnect a little bit. So Fin Fang Foom would be...
I just think with mental health, it was clearly like a mental health issue with them. So yeah, I mean, I hope that they're better and can continue their career. So
I think they are a terrific actor. So I want to see them in more, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way.
Yeah.
Now, somebody who reminds me a lot of Henry Cavill, just like without the accent, and in my opinion, much funnier, Zachary Levi.
Yeah. This is tough because he has been in Marvel, but then they recast him. Like he was Fandral, one of Thor's Warriors 3, but then they like recast him.
Yep, so because he had to go Shazam.
Yeah. So since he was recasted, I'm not counting him. So
okay.
But Zachary Levi, he is funny too. He could do Beta Ray Bill. I don't know what kind of run they want to go with Beta Ray Bill.
I think depending on, like, that's another thing. Depending on what direction they want to go with certain characters. But
he's got comedy. He has comedy in his. It has to be a comedic role.
Right. So there's some characters, you know, Spider-Man, Deadpool, that they tend to have funny interactions with other characters often. Sure. He doesn't have to necessarily be in that sort of role, but a character that can whip out the funny when needed, which is why I think he would be a pretty good Cyclops.
Okay. It'd be a different role for him because he'd have to be more stoic.
Right. I mean? Right. And he would have to be leader role. Like that's a major.
Yeah, no, role. I want them to almost keep Wolverine separate and
I would too.
Have Cyclops lead the X-Men because that's what happens. Wolverine's a side character in that kind of thing. Like he's a huge character, but like he's not the leader of the X-Men. You know, he's not the front face. So
unfortunately, the character that I would want him to play has been taken, which I think he would be great as a Hawkeye.
Sure.
But yeah, that's not possible. But that's when I think of Zachary, I was like, I could definitely see him as a Hawkeye.
That's tough. I'm trying to think of like space stuff too.
Right, because he would go great with the Guardians.
Yeah, he would fit with the Guardians too. But
so who's the next batch? Because they're talking about how this next group of Guardians will be formed.
See, I don't know. I think Groot is in it.
Groot
is in it. Because Groot is getting like bulkier. Adam Warlock will be.
Oh yeah.
I'm hoping Moondragon.
Yep, I'm hoping kind of, but by bringing in Moondragon, I feel like they open up another can of worms for Drax, and I think Drax's character arc is perfectly complete.
Yeah, I do too. But I think if you can end Drax's character arc with him at least knowing that his daughter's alive,
yeah,
and then he can be like his sacrifice isn't meaning for nothing.
Yeah. I also could see Zachary Levi in like a Nova Corps leader role, not necessarily like a main character role, but yeah, maybe a Nova
Maybe a
could be
Nova.
good, but or just like, you know how John C. Reilly was like the Nova officer.
Sure.
Something like that. Doesn't like obviously I'd rather have him in a bigger role, but I also think he would kill it in that level of role.
Yeah.
And he can interact with main characters that are funny.
Yeah.
And I think that would be, but again, if he wants to stretch himself and try something different, I think he would be a tremendous like new Cyclops.
Sure. Yeah, it's very stoic. That's not him. So
yeah. Next, also somebody who I don't know if we really even need to run this guy because he's gonna be in DC anyway again, just in a different character. Jason Momoa, most likely going to be the next Lobo.
Yeah, I think Lobo would be badass. That's his favorite character. So
he has a movie that came out. I can't remember when exactly it came out, but it was his first ever villain role. And he was talking about it recently in an interview. And his response was, and I finally got the ability to play a villain. And then he goes, looks at the camera. He's like, fucking finally.
Yeah,
he's been wanting he wants to play a villain, so clearly he wants to be
Lobo's like a Deadpool from space, kind of like he's like an anti-hero but like a bad dude, you know what I mean? Like,
so speaking of Mr. Sinister, I think a Jason Momoa Mr. Sinister would be pretty brutal.
I think a lot of the people we've said kind of fit his mold. I think the ideal like first choice I think of is Sabretooth.
Oh, that would be there it is, dude. I love that. Sabretooth. Yeah. Jason Momoa as Sabretooth.
I think that just makes the most sense to me.
No matter who you pick as Wolverine, Sabretooth is going to look like he could overpower Wolverine, which is what I like when Wolverine...
Don't get me wrong, Liev Schreiber's Sabretooth was badass.
It was
I loved Liev Schreiber's
I think his Jimmy, or what was his name?
James Howlett.
I know he calls Wolverine Jimmy.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think his non-Sabretooth was amazing. And then when he like became kind of Sabretooth, that's when I was like stopping believing it as much.
Sure.
But it was still
that movie is also like the worst Wolverine movie they've ever done. So
but yeah, Jason Momoa Sabretooth sounds perfect. And if they casted, they won't because of his off-screen stuff, but if they casted like a Shia LaBeouf,
Taron Egerton,
Radcliffe, Taron Egerton, anybody like that looks like they would just get the shit stomped out of them by a Jason Momoa, no matter what shape he's in. And Jason Momoa looks like he would murder them.
Yeah.
And I want Sabretooth to look like he can destroy Wolverine and sometimes actually destroy Wolverine.
Yeah.
But the whole point is Sabretooth or Wolverine looks so small compared to so when he wins,
Sony already casted Aaron Taylor Johnson as Kraven, but he could have played Kraven the Hunter.
He could have been a really good Kraven.
Yeah.
Which Aaron Taylor
What is Spider-Man going to do versus that guy? Like, he's just going to be like, he's just going to get clocked.
I also thought he would have been a good werewolf by night, which they cast that already.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I like the direction they went with werewolf. So maybe he could be a Mephisto.
Yeah. Apparently Sacha Baron Cohen's going to be playing.
Dude, if Sacha Baron Cohen is Mephisto, I will line up 3 days before. Sacha Baron Cohen is one of the best actors of all time. Just gonna say that now.
He's apparently going to be in Ironheart, because Ironheart's going to be going up against the Red Hood. The Red Hood is like a magic user, and apparently he's going to be like getting that magic either through Agatha Harkness, who's getting it from Mephisto. I don't know. There's a bunch of possibilities, but I think he'd be pretty badass with that. So
that would be that. If it's Sacha Baron Cohen.
Oh, also
incredible.
They could have done this, but Jason Momoa probably could have played Morbius too. Like if he was huge, You know what I mean? But
right.
Yeah, I like
it would be hard for him to look sickly like Jared Leto did.
Yeah.
Christian Bale also could have done a good Morbius.
Sure. That's my vote is Sabretooth because that's just
Sabretooth, yep.
Jason Momoa with fangs just seems scary. You know what I mean?
Like super erection worthy. 100%. Right. Jason Momoa with fangs just brings out a furry side I didn't realize existed. Next would be, we got 2 left.
Yeah.
Margot Robbie. Somebody that the rumors are that Margot Robbie is one of the only people that will be staying. James Gunn said, again, he's been using a lot of colorful language, which I like because that means he's just
DC. He's part of DC now. It's darker. So,
and he said, I don't know where people keep getting these fucking ideas and rumors that the Suicide Squad and everything I have had my hands in is the only thing sticking around, because I've never once said that, and that's not true.
Yeah.
So Suicide Squad is not necessarily sticking around. Margot Robbie may be going away. Sounds like she might not be, but if she does, obviously, just like Henry Cavill, she's basically one of those people that if you can get her, you guarantee you bumped up your revenue.
Sure. Yeah.
Now what she could play, one of the roles I would have wanted her in has been taken, which is the leader of the gold people in
Aisha.
Yeah, I think she would be a great Aisha.
Sure.
Again, you're bringing in the Greek gods. You could have her be Aphrodite.
Sure.
You could have her be like a Hera. You could have her, you could have Persephone.
Sure. My first 2 things that came to my head were Dazzler. I don't know about her. I don't know about her pipes, but I mean, you can also just make a voice. Like, I don't know if she can sing or not, but
she probably can.
Dazzler is a good one. Or Songbird. Songbbird's kind of villainous too. Also, like,
so do you want her to be a villain?
Because the other thing was Enchantress, but they kind of already put that into Sylvie a bit. So I guess those 3 roles were kind of villainous. I don't really know what I could see from like a hero standpoint. Songbird,
I think you could. That's another person you could run as Phoenix. I think that's another person, but I think Phoenix should probably be a bit, I don't know, a bit younger.
Sure.
I don't know.
My vote would be Dazzler, I think.
Yeah.
But I also think Lady Gaga could be Dazzler. So
Lady Gaga's Dazzler would be awesome. I love that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. I think that's the hard part with Margot Robbie is a lot of superhero roles. I think there are other people.
Spider-Woman, maybe she could do that too.
There was one I just had. I lost it. It was they're in I believe they are in the game that you and Sam beat.
Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah, I think there's a character that it was in Ultimate Alliance that I remember as I was playing thinking that she could play her.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Yeah, same, just so I can go faster. Ultimate Alliance roster. Black Order roster.
Trying to go through the people that we have. Crystal, Elsa.
I think it might have been, because the one with the red hair that does
Medusa.
Magic.
Oh, Medusa, maybe.
Is that the one with the red hair that does magic?
Yeah, orange hair.
Orange hair, yeah.
Yeah,
that one. That's who I thought Margot Robbie
Crystal.
Could play.
Crystal, and Inhuman.
Yeah, I think she would be a great Crystal.
Sure.
There you go. That's
she could do Medusa too. She could play Medusa too.
Last one, since we're running short on time. I was looking for pictures of him. Haven't found one single one on the internet. John Cena. You mentioned
Hyperion? Or The Rock.
Oh yeah, I skipped over The Rock. He was between Ezra Miller and Zachary Levi.
Sure. Let's do this quick then. We got
John Cena, The Rock. Both are big.
Both. My very first one is what I've always wanted is one of them to play the Thing.
Yeah. John Cena as the Thing has been one of the most popular fan castings.
Yeah.
I also think you mentioned Hyperion. John Cena could be a good, decent Hyperion.
Yeah. So could The Rock too, I guess. So Hyperion, Ares, like that kind of mix. I always thought John Cena could play Sandman, like the MCU Sandman.
I love that idea.
Yeah,
I love that idea.
That one's been one, but I've always thought my ideal fan casting has always been Zac Efron and The Rock as Human Torch and The Thing, but Zac Efron's also huge now, so he wouldn't necessarily fit on that.
So there is like a side character, so I don't think The Rock would do it.
Sure.
But Wyatt Wingfoot, the hard part is so he's like a side character, he's a mutant.
Sure.
But he's an indigenous character. So okay. I don't know if you have to cast an indigenous person. I feel like The Rock being like part Hawaiian. No, sure. I don't know, but I think he would be a pretty good Wyatt Wingfoot.
Sure.
Just sure. If you're gonna have him do a side character, you can make the character as big as you want, like we said. So just because he's a side character, I know The Rock would not want to be one, so you'd have to make him priority. Or if they don't mind being covered in CGI, if you don't want to do an accent, you could have either of them do, and they're already in Marvel, so something like Colossus or Juggernaut, something like that would be totally fine. The Blob, we don't have a Blob. John Cena is the Blob.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That could be fun.
That would be fun. Yeah.
But the one you said for John Cena, I can't remember what you just said.
The Thing,
and then The Rock, I don't think is going to Marvel. He's going to find somebody to make Black Adam. He'll make it separately if he has to.
Sure.
Yeah. There's our these DC actors should come to Marvel. They got an in with James Gunn now.
Right.
So they can just, let's just hop on over to Marvel. And that's, again, all these people don't seem to be in the age group that Marvel's looking for, but if Marvel was looking for good castings, those would all be, I think, pretty good castings. Sure. There's a few characters I think Marvel should be looking to fill so they can take their time with, like Mr. Sinister, like Nova. Right. But big names like what we've been talking about, those are the people you go with. I don't think you go with an unnamed or a small name for some of these roles.
Some of these bigger ones, like Wolverine.
Yeah.
Wolverine.
Can't really go small there.
So
any of the Fantastic Four, most of the Make Mutants.
Right.
Yeah. So let us know what you think, preferably in the comment section. Second choice would be on Twitter. Third choice would be come to my house. Let us know what you think. Do you think those ideas are terrible? Do you think DC should keep any of these people? You don't have to talk about Henry Cavill. We know what you think there, but if you want to, go for it. But thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, all the things. Like, wherever they exist on the screen or whatever you're looking at or listening to, just click it. Unless it's the subscribe button and if you've already subscribed, don't unclick it. Just want to let you know you all look great today. G.
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become you. Have no regrets, yeah, I'm tired of my chest.